Welcome to District Command Central, your go-to source for the latest news and updates on the Washington Commanders. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell, so you never miss a play. The Washington Commanders came agonizingly close to snapping their losing streak in a hard-fought battle against the Denver Broncos, one of the NFL's elite teams this season, only to fall short in overtime, dropping them to 3 wins and 9 losses. It was yet another night that left fans frustrated, players exhausted, and the organization questioning what needs to change to turn the franchise round. Washington has faced challenges on multiple fronts, especially on the offensive side of the ball, where injuries have decimated the depth chart and forced the coaching staff to scramble for solutions. Quarterback Jayden Daniels, who has been a bright spot in flashes, has struggled to gain consistent rhythm, partly due to the lack of reliable targets and partly because of his own time lost to minor injuries. The Commanders' front office, led by General Manager Adam Peters, now faces a pivotal offseason where decisions could define the trajectory of the team for years to come. And one of the most intriguing stories brewing involves a potential reunion that could electrify the offense. Brandon Aiyuk joining Washington. Aiyuk, the talented wide receiver currently on the San Francisco 49ers roster, has been linked to the Commanders in whispers that have only grown louder in recent weeks. The intrigue isn't just based on his talent, although make no mistake, he is a game-changer when healthy. The real narrative hook lies in the history he shares with Jayden Daniels, his former teammate at Arizona State University. The chemistry between a quarterback and a receiver is often intangible, built over countless hours of practice, shared struggles, and mutual trust. And Daniels and Aiyuk have that in spades. ESPN's Jeremy Fowler highlighted the connection, noting that Aiyuk is someone to watch in relation to Washington because of this personal and professional link. On top of that, Adam Peters, having spent time in San Francisco under John Lynch, understands exactly what kind of player Aiyuk is, what he brings to a locker room, and how he could fit into a system designed to maximize his strengths. For a team looking to inject life into an offense that has sputtered this year, the idea of reuniting these two athletes is tantalizing. Yet, as with any potential blockbuster move, there are serious considerations. Brandon Aiyuk's injury history is a headline in itself. Before the 2024 season even reached full swing, Aiyuk signed a massive 4-year contract worth $120 million with the 49ers, a deal that reflected the team's confidence in his abilities and projected future production. However, tragedy struck early when he tore both his ACL and MCL in his right knee, effectively ending his season before he could make a significant impact. Recovery from such injuries is never straightforward, and despite reports suggesting that he should have returned to practice by now, Aiyuk remains sidelined, leaving questions about his full recovery, long-term durability, and readiness to contribute at a high level for a team like Washington, which has already experienced the heartbreak of losing a star wide receiver like Deebo Samuel to similar drama in a previous tenure. Any potential addition of Aiyuk comes with obvious risk. The gamble is not just financial but strategic, as the Commanders must weigh whether investing in a player with a high ceiling but significant injury concerns is worth the potential reward of revitalizing their offense. Despite the risks, the potential upside is undeniably tempting. Imagine a Commanders offense where Jayden Daniels has 3 legitimate, game-breaking targets at wide receiver: Terry McLaurin, Deebo Samuel, and Brandon Aiyuk. Such a trio could create mismatches against any defense in the league, force opponents to account for multiple threats on every play, and elevate Daniels' game in ways that have been impossible this season. History suggests that Daniels thrives when he has trustworthy playmakers around him, and the Aiyuk connection from their college days could accelerate that trust instantly. Yes, there has been drama with Aiyuk in San Francisco, echoes of what Samuel experienced in Washington. But the Commanders have demonstrated in recent seasons that they are willing to navigate locker room dynamics if the football upside is compelling enough. In other words, the reward of potentially having a wide receiver group capable of taking over games in 2026 might far outweigh the temporary headaches that come with managing a high-profile talent. As the regular season winds down, the Commanders face the reality that a playoff berth is highly unlikely. This reality, however, brings with it an opportunity to focus squarely on the offseason. The front office can strategize, evaluate free agents, explore trade possibilities, and consider the upcoming NFL draft with the aim of filling gaps that have plagued the team all year, the offensive line, quarterback protection, and receiving cores are all areas ripe for enhancement. And a player like Brandon Aiyuk, if healthy, could be the missing piece that transforms Daniels' supporting cast into a legitimate threat week in and week out. While the idea of trading for Aiyuk is complex, involving salary cap considerations, potential draft pick costs, and the uncertainty of his return to form, it is precisely the type of bold move that could signal a new chapter for a team desperate to escape mediocrity. The narrative practically writes itself: a collegiate reunion, a chance at redemption for a player recovering from serious injury, and the creation of an offensive juggernaut capable of changing the perception of Washington's franchise overnight. Fans, analysts, and rival teams alike will be watching closely as the season closes, analyzing every injury report, trade rumor, and front office move. The speculation surrounding Aiyuk is emblematic of a larger theme for Washington: the desire to pivot from a disappointing season into one filled with promise, while questions about consistency, health, and chemistry abound. The potential for creating a dynamic, multifaceted offense cannot be ignored. Adam Peters, with his experience under John Lynch in San Francisco, has the background to assess the risk-reward calculus, and Daniels, with his proven ability to elevate teammates' performances, stands to benefit the most from such a move. It is a storyline rich with drama, intrigue, and anticipation. A story that could very well dominate headlines as the offseason approaches, and as Washington seeks to redefine itself in the league hierarchy. Ultimately, whether Brandon Aiyuk joins the Commanders or remains in San Francisco, the discussions around him underscore a franchise at a crossroads. The team is evaluating not just players but identity, strategy, and vision. Can they build a roster capable of competing at the highest level in the NFC East? Can they balance the need for immediate impact with long-term sustainability? Can they navigate the delicate balance between risk and reward when considering a player with the talent to change games but the injury history that gives any front office pause? These are questions that will define the next chapter of Washington football. For now, fans can only speculate, debate, and hope that the whispers become reality. That Daniels and Aiyuk's chemistry lights up FedEx Field, and that the Commanders, after a season of near misses and setbacks, finally find a path back to relevance and victory. The combination of Daniels, McLaurin, Samuel, and potentially Aiyuk presents an offensive vision that feels like the future. A blueprint for a team that has struggled to find stability but refuses to settle. It is a vision that excites, that inspires, and that makes every remaining loss in the current season feel like a prelude to something bigger. The offseason will bring clarity, tough decisions, and perhaps the boldest move the Commanders have made in recent memory. For now, the narrative is set, the speculation is rampant, and fans can dream of a day when Washington's receiving corps is the envy of the league. A potent mix of talent, experience, and raw potential ready to reshape the team's fortunes in 2026. If you're enjoying the coverage, make sure to smash that like button and drop a comment with your thoughts on the Commanders' latest moves. We want to hear from you. There is a storm brewing over Washington, and it is one that nobody saw coming. At least not this quickly. The news is buzzing, the streets are talking, and the fans are in a state of utter disbelief because one of the most beloved figures in recent Washington football history is reportedly saying goodbye to the Commanders. Terry McLaurin, the wide receiver whose name has been chanted in the stands, whose highlights have dominated highlight reels, and whose commitment on the field has earned him a place in the hearts of thousands, appears to be leaving the team. The shockwaves are palpable, and you can almost feel the disbelief through every corner of social media, every sports bar, and every conversation among fans who have followed this team for decades. McLaurin's departure, if confirmed, is more than just a roster move. It is a symbolic turning point, an emotional rupture that touches the very core of the franchise's identity. Because he has been more than a player, he has been an emblem, a beacon of hope, and a figure whose loyalty to the team seemed untouchable. The whispers began quietly, almost tentatively, as rumors often do. Insiders hinted at behind-the-scenes negotiations that might not have gone according to plan. Fans, who had grown used to seeing McLaurin dominate defenders with his explosive speed, precise routes, and uncanny ability to make the impossible catch seem routine, suddenly started wondering if they were going to witness his final moments in the burgundy and gold. There is a tension in the air, an almost electric anticipation, because Terry has always been the kind of player who inspires stories, the kind of athlete whose every game feels like a narrative unfolding. A drama in real time that people feel privileged to watch. His relationship with the city and the fan base has been a constant thread throughout his career. Every touchdown, every sideline celebration, every press interaction, it all contributed to an image of a player who understood what it meant to wear the uniform of Washington, who respected the legacy, who carried the city's hopes on his shoulders. And now, the rumor mills are suggesting that chapter might be coming to an abrupt and heart-wrenching close. Sources close to the team hint at multiple factors converging to make this parting possible. Contract disputes are one possibility, though nobody has come forward with concrete details. Some insiders are talking about the team's strategic direction, questioning whether McLaurin fits the long-term plans of Washington's front office. Others whisper about potential trades, teasing the idea of a blockbuster move that would send shockwaves not just through Washington, but across the league. Fans are torn between outrage, sadness, and the faint glimmer of hope that somehow, some miraculous turn of events could keep him in the burgundy and gold for just a little longer. The idea that a player of his caliber, one who has been so integral to the offense, so central to the team's identity, might walk away or be moved has ignited a frenzy of speculation. Every sports talk show, every online forum, every social media thread is exploding with theories, debates, and passionate pleas for the franchise to reconsider. Imagine the locker room dynamics in all of this. Terry McLaurin has been more than a teammate. He has been a leader, a mentor, and someone who uplifts those around him. Young players have looked up to him, modeled their work ethic after him, and drawn inspiration from his determination. Coaches have praised his professionalism, his ability to stay calm under pressure, and his commitment to excellence. And now, the very thought that he might not be there next season introduces a void that goes beyond the statistics and the highlight reels. It's a cultural vacuum, an emotional gap that cannot simply be filled by a draft pick or a free agent. People are talking about the legacy he leaves behind, the imprint on the locker room, and the echoes of chants from fans in stadiums that could suddenly feel emptier without his presence. The emotional weight of this rumored departure is almost tangible, a heavy cloud that hangs over the city and the fan base alike. The social media reaction has been instantaneous and intense. Fans are sharing clips of McLaurin's most iconic plays, compiling tribute videos, and posting heartfelt messages that range from sorrow to disbelief. Memes are flying around, some humorous, some deeply touching, all reflecting a community grappling with the possibility of losing someone they've admired, not just for his skill, but for his heart, his consistency, and his resilience. Commentators and analysts are speculating endlessly. Some say this could be the beginning of a major rebuild, while others argue that letting McLaurin go, if it happens, would be a catastrophic error in judgment. The sheer magnitude of his potential exit is prompting debates about the team's philosophy, its future direction, and what it really values in its players. It's rare that a single athlete becomes such a lightning rod for discussion, but McLaurin has always been exceptional in that regard. And now those discussions have reached a fever pitch. It's worth considering what McLaurin's departure would mean beyond the headlines and rumors. This is a player whose influence extends to merchandise sales, ticket demand, and even the city's overall sports culture. Washington fans have been accustomed to seeing him take the field with unwavering focus, a model of professionalism, and an unshakable determination. His energy is infectious, his competitiveness legendary, and his impact goes far beyond stats and plays. Losing him, even in a rumor scenario, introduces uncertainty about the team's identity, its appeal, and its ability to attract and retain talent in the future. Every conversation about the Commanders now includes his name, because he has been that essential, that symbolic, and that vital to the narrative of this franchise. And yet, even amidst all this uncertainty, the rumor itself has a strange allure. There is something almost cinematic about watching a beloved figure potentially leave under such circumstances. It evokes the kinds of emotions that sports are uniquely capable of inspiring: loyalty, heartbreak, admiration, and the enduring hope that stories do not have to end the way we fear they might. Fans are holding their collective breath, waiting for confirmation, praying for resolution, and imagining scenarios both tragic and hopeful. Analysts are dissecting every quote, every hint of body language, every potential strategic implication. It is a perfect storm of rumor, speculation, and emotional investment, one that has transformed a standard roster update into something that feels like a citywide event. Terry McLaurin's story in Washington has always been compelling. From the moment he stepped onto the field, He has represented something more than just athletic prowess. He has represented resilience, loyalty, and the promise of greatness achieved through effort, determination, and passion. To even entertain the possibility of his departure is to grapple with the fragility of those narratives, to acknowledge that nothing, no matter how cherished, is permanent. The city, the fans, and the team itself are now in a suspended state of expectation, caught between the past they have cherished and the uncertain future that looms ahead. Every rumor, every leak, every insider whisper feels magnified because McLaurin is not just a player, he is a symbol. And losing a symbol is never easy, as the rumor continues to swirl. One thing is clear, Washington is on the brink of a story that will be told and retold for years to come, regardless of the ultimate outcome. The chatter will not die down. Fans will continue to debate, to lament, to celebrate, and to imagine. Analysts will continue to dissect every possible angle. And the narrative of Terry McLaurin's tenure with the Commanders, whether it ends now or later, will be cemented in the annals of the franchise. The drama, the passion, the emotion, all of it has been amplified by the mere possibility of his exit. This is what makes sports so captivating. The intersection of human emotion, skill, loyalty, and uncertainty, all converging on a single figure who has carried the hopes and dreams of an entire fan base. And Terry McLaurin, beloved, irreplaceable, and unforgettable, is at the center of it all. Thanks for tuning into District Command Central. Make sure to subscribe and follow us for all the Commanders news you need. Until next time, keep the faith and hail to the Commanders.